All right, good stuff. Well, again, we are so glad to be here. Thank you all. I just want to kind of set this up. First off, when Matt and I kind of got together and we wanted to put together this presentation, we looked at it from the standpoint of if we were launching a new company, what would that inventory growth strategy look like, right? And we took everything we've learned. I looked at everything I've learned from starting, Vantage and building and growing that, everything I've learned here at Vintory, helping over 150 management companies grow their inventory. And then Matt looked at it from his perspective of, building two successful companies in multiple markets. And we took it and we narrowed it down to 20 growth strategies. And we've got them organized in these three buckets that you see right here. So this is what we're going to be going over today. The first bucket is strengthening your foundation. The second bucket is leveraging an omni-channel marketing program. And the last one, we're going to round it out with saving time with software and tools. So we've got a lot of information to go. Like I said, 20 strategies, 20 hacks. So we're going to go super fast here. But don't worry, we will actually share a copy of this slide deck at the end of this presentation. We'll tell you how you can get it. So let's go ahead and kick it off. All right, first up, the first bucket is strengthening your foundation. I honestly believe the majority of these tips and strategies would be pointless unless you had a really, really solid foundation. So let's kick it off with hack number 20. And this is using a CRM for owner acquisition. Now, most vacation rental managers I know have used a CRM, but that's on the guest side, right? They use it, they know it helps you to save time, keeps you organized, and it's a great resource to get future reservations. But what's surprising is very, very, very few vacation rental managers out there, they're actually using CRMs for owner acquisition, which is kind of shocking because these leads are super valuable. It's a future gold mine, and keeping track of them is absolutely critical. Now, it does not need to be fancy. Just keep track of them somewhere. Please just do not use Post-it notes or legal pads, right? So it could be as simple as Google Sheets. I realize Google Sheets is not a CRM, but at least you're keeping them track of them somewhere. Or you can use Salesforce, which is the 800-pound gorilla in the CRM world. There's HubSpot, there's Zoho. And a shameless plug here for Vintory, we've actually built a CRM from the ground up specifically for vacation rental managers to help them grow their inventory. So Matt, what is our hack?
Honestly, for us, or for me, the first hack I believe is signing up for one. It's doing what Brooke says. Use the Salesforce, HubSpot, or Vintory CRM, which is awesome. And second is make sure that you set up the CRM and the workflows. Use the automation, use those emails, and being able to connect emails with attachments and see the tracking is fantastic. For me, when it gave me a tracking that a prospective homeowner went in and was able to open up one of my emails that were sent out, whether it was a performer or whatever, I always followed up in a little bit of time with them, letting them know that, hey, see if they had any questions, what was going on. What was interesting is whenever I did that, without fail, they were always like, you know what? I was just looking at that. So kind of like you're stalking, but you're not. Yeah. I mean, you are, but you got to strike with the iron's hot. So for me, that's all about timing.
I love it. All right. Thanks, Matt. All right. Now, Matt can attest to this. This past season was absolutely bonkers for most vacation rental managers. Matt, I even believe I heard you say that you actually ditched your spring break and you kind of rolled up your sleeves and got your hands a little dirty, didn't you?
I know, and I know for a lot of you guys out here, this is going to be like, no duh, right? But for us, managing multiple markets and not living in our markets, I visit the markets 4 or 5 times a year. It was a big deal for us to ditch our spring break and go back and actually work in the business. I needed to see what was working, what wasn't working. I mean, honestly, it had been about 10 years since I had done this on this level. So we spent, my wife and I, kids spent 2 days in housekeeping, 2 days in maintenance, and a day in laundry in our facility. And it was I would say it was business changing for us to really see what was going on. Kids weren't excited about it, of course, but at the end, it was all worth it.
Yeah, I'm sure your kids, I'm sure they love that. Hey, we're going to go, we're not going to go skiing this year. We're actually going to do laundry, right? I'm sure they love that.
Exactly.
All right. So how do you grow your business and keep up with the day-to-day operations? The answer is automation. So hack number 19 is all about using automation to save you time and convert more leads. And this allows you to spend more time focusing on your regular operations and let the software side of things really, Matt, do the business development, right? So I like to organize these into 2 buckets. The first is you have new leads right? And then you have what we call long-term nurturing. So let's kick it off first and just talk about new leads. So we know from all the data that we have of, again, helping over 150 different companies with their inventory acquisition strategy, typically the first person that ends up getting a hold of the lead is usually the one that ends up getting that deal. In fact, according to Mark Roberge, who I don't know if you know what Mark Roberge is, but he was the former chief marketing officer at HubSpot. I think he was employee number like 3 there. He also is a Harvard professor on sales. And he said that if you connect with a lead immediately or call them back within 2 minutes, you are 10 times more likely to close them than waiting an hour, right? So just, again, it accentuates this point. And then you're 10,000 more times more likely to close them versus just waiting 1 day. So by leveraging marketing automation that's built into these tools, it's going to increase your chances of converting your lead, connecting with your lead quickly. So there's marketing automation platforms like ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, they are CRM, but they also have marketing automation as well built into it.
Yeah, when in 2018 when we started, we started working together. We actually didn't. You know what my CRM was? It was the notes on my computer, and I had a folder. And I'm embarrassed to say this, but it just, it's reality. It's where I was, and I had notes, and I put homeowner leads, and I would track them on that notepad on my computer. If I hadn't have moved initially into HubSpot and now Ventori, but with HubSpot, I would have never been able to keep up with the amount of leads that have come in since that time. I mean, just think about last spring break, we all went away to work. And
yep.
I wouldn't have been able to keep up with what was coming in without using those automations. So that's just the HubSpotter. And then Ventori now, it's working in my business. That spring break was a game changer for me.
Yep. Amen. All right. So now we talked about new leads. Now let's talk about long-term nurturing. So very often what we've seen is, a lead will come in and maybe they're not ready to buy right then, right? Maybe they're not ready to sign up. So maybe they just bought the house. Maybe they're doing renovations. Maybe they're, they're like this past year, they're sitting on like $80,000 in reservations and there's no way they're making a move until like kind of the season ends. So we see this time and time again. So if that happens, what we recommend is moving them to a long-term nurturing sequence, a long-term nurturing stage. In fact, many of our partners are actually telling us that as much as 50% of all of their deals are coming from deals that were in that long-term nurturing stage. So it's critical. If you don't have that stage, if you don't have those sequences, you are definitely missing out, because I know nobody, and I know, Matt, you can attest to this, you don't have the time and the bandwidth to constantly follow up with those leads, do you?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's 100% accurate. I mean, so many people that we talk to, they're not ready to sign on, or maybe they're just thinking about a property, they're looking at areas, and then so they go into your sales funnel, right, your CRM, and then when they go into that long-term nurturing, you drag those things over, and then have the platform do its job, whatever you're using, and have that nurturing platform take over, where you got that drip campaign in there.
Yeah.
And because, as you know, Brooke, staying top of mind is key. So when they are ready, they're ready to sign up for you, because they still know who, for us, who Family Time is. And I've been in this business for a long time, and nobody I know, for the most part, really has time to follow up with these and keep, track of these on a notepad. So I think the marketing automation pays for itself tenfold. Just drag them over into nurturing stage and let your CRM take it on autopilot. And for me, when you send emails out or text or however you have it set up, it's really important to be less salesy and more educational on these drip campaigns.
I agree. Yep, 100%. All right, so now we're on to hack number 18, and this is all about converting more leads with an optimized owner landing page. So this is probably one of the simplest fixes, and it has an immediate ROI and is definitely the lowest hanging fruit. So whenever I've been on a webinar or interview or anything like that, and they ask me if we only do one thing, what is it? This is it, right? Update your damn landing page, because you have all this organic traffic coming to your website. And, just don't make it difficult for these prospects to find out, how to get more information. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a property management landing or a website, and I'm trying to inquire about property management services, and you can't even find out how to find them, right? So here's what you want to do. First up, you want to make a very clear call to action on your homepage, just like we have here. We've shown on your example, Matt, on your website. We have a contrasting color to make it point out stick out. The ROI is there. If you look at the value of one new property, this should be top of mind and right at top of topic here. So that's the first thing. Up next is you want to, on the landing page itself, you want to have a big hero image above the fold. You want to have a form. Don't ask too many questions on your form. Have it, and again, you want this above the fold as well. So you only want probably 4 or 5 questions. Statistics have shown the more questions you ask, the more fields you ask, the lower the response rate is. So you only want to get just the bare minimum information that makes it relevant for you. You also want to then list out kind of your core features and benefits. You want to include forms of social proof. So social proof would be examples of quotes from owners, that kind of, talking about how good your service is and things like that. Trust icons. So trust icons are little badges, right? It's like a Better Business Bureau A+ rating. It's an Airbnb Superhost. It's a Vrbo Premier Host, or whatever they call it. Those kind of trust icons that help build credibility. And then you also want to include risk reversals. Risk reversals, some examples of risk reversals. Well, what's the point of risk reversal? It's to reduce friction in the buying process, right? To make it so easy for that person to end up signing up with you. Some examples of risk reversal: no long-term contracts, no startup fees. You could even maybe like a money back guarantee kind of thing. So there's a bunch of different things. But again, don't worry about writing all this down. This is one of our giveaways. This is our first infographic giveaway we're going to do. And again, we'll share with this at the end of the presentation, how you can get this. It's an essential elements that make a great landing page. So again, you can download this. We'll share with you at the end of it how to do it. Now, no, Matt, we ended up building some landing pages specifically for you from very targeted communities. You want to talk a little bit about that strategy?
Yeah, it was what I found is we wanted to go into different markets. We wanted to own that market. We wanted to be the one that was top of mind in that market. So we built out individual microsites for an area. We didn't overdo it. These were areas that were in the area of our markets, but yet outside of it, there were maybe like a golf course community or something like that, right? Or I know some PMs out there have different condos that they go after and different things. So that's the kind of thing. Brooke, you and I talked about this years ago, and so we built those landing pages out. We always tied it back to managed by Family Time or whatever. Right. So we have that reputation, but it's been great for us.
It's a great idea. And so just a personal experience, I did the same thing at Vantage. There was about 4 or 5 buildings that we wanted to own the inventory in. We wanted to have the majority of that inventory. So we built specific landing pages specific for those buildings. It almost seemed like we were the official management company of those buildings. And we ended up getting a ton of leads from those microsites. There's a company, Global Resort Homes, down in Orlando. As soon as they develop a new community down there, they grab a domain that has that community name in there. And it's the same strategy. They build these landing pages to get new owners to sign up. But again, they build it with this. It's a little bit of guerrilla marketing because it almost looks like it's the official management company of that community, but there is no official management company of that community, but they've been able to really pick up a lot of properties by doing that strategy. And just one little last thing on this, some great tool to build out if you want to just build specific landing pages for these. Unbounce is fantastic. It's super easy to do. You don't need to know how to code. And it's a great tool to be able to build out almost unlimited landing pages with, I think it's like $99.
And what else I would do, Brooke, is on the landing pages, I would add that explainer video because I think that's key. When the inventory team came to us and said, "Hey, let's put together this little explainer video," we saw almost immediately saw an increase in leads. It was like a virtual salesperson that never called in sick and always performed. So
you mean they didn't call in? They weren't hungover?
Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
That's right. All right. So here's the best hack of these explainer videos, like the one we produced for you guys. Like, we didn't produce it. We literally just found someone on Fiverr, and I think we found somebody on Upwork for this. We paid the guy $500. We provided like pictures of your properties, some local area photos. We gave him a very basic script, and he literally produced it for us for $500. And here, look, I think very many of us think that video creation has to be expensive, but it doesn't. And it really does help with conversion. In fact, I was just reading a white paper on Salesforce's work.com. They said that they built an explainer video on their homepage, and it increased their conversion rates by 20%. So they don't need to be expensive, or they do work and they don't need to be expensive. All right, so here we go, Matt. I need a volunteer. So I gave you some cash earlier today. I gave you 300 bucks. Can you do me a favor and go ahead and give that to someone in the crowd?
Let's go. Need a volunteer. Who's going to volunteer? Let's do it. Here is 300 bucks. Do me a favor. Go ahead. Rip this up. No, seriously, rip it up.
All right, we'll give you a prize if you do rip it up. So, all right, well, thank you for doing that. I didn't really think she was going to do that, but I guess she did. So, all right, so here's the thing. So this is exactly what happens when you or someone on your team is missing some homeowner leads, right? Because this is exactly what we've calculated is the average cost per lead in our industry for a new homeowner. But here's the funny thing is when we ask our partners, we say, hey, do you miss leads? Do you have a good system in place in answering all the calls that come in and responding to all the leads, the forms that are filled out? Oh, absolutely, 100%, we do it. But guess what? The data doesn't back that up. Not only is the data not back that up, but when we see, because we actually get alerted every time calls are missed, and we see property manager after property manager after property manager are missing these calls. And this is after they told us they never miss any. So we actually did went one step further. We actually secret shopped 100 vacation rental management companies to inquire about property management services. And they picked up the phone 34% of the time. Think about that. So that means 2/3 of the time, the phone was not getting picked up. So then what we did is we actually went out there and we left a message, and only 57% of the time did they actually call us back. And this pains me, right? This astonishes me because like these leads are so valuable, But here's the thing. When we called the mega managers, the Vicasas and the turnkeys, I'll just lay it out there. Everyone, the ones that everyone says are so awful, their service is awful. Well, not on the owner acquisition side, because they had 100% connectivity rate. They're not better. They just answer the damn phone, and that is half the battle. So I would recommend secret shopping your own company a couple of times and see what happens. And please, 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 if you can't consistently answer these calls, if your team is not consistently responding very quickly and everything else, hire somebody that can, okay? So here's the hack. The hack is to use an answering service, right? So there's a bunch of different answering services out there. One, and this isn't necessarily an answering service, but you can use them like an answering service. It's called Extend Team. So Extend Team focuses strictly on hospitality, and they have their offshore talent, right? They're very inexpensive. They're so reliable. They're so good. You can literally set it up where you have the calls answered 24 hours a day. I have 7 people on my team, 7 Extend Team members on my team, and I'm paying them, it's significantly cheaper than if I were paying somebody here locally to do that. And I know, Matt, you're using some Extend Team members as well, right?
Yeah, we are. We actually have 4. And I got to say that I was super nervous about this. And I don't know why, because it's worked out great. They're a great compliment to our team. Like you said, it's an inexpensive option. I highly recommend them. So, I would go out and see Ari. They got a booth here and see if they can help you.
Yep. Go see Ari. All right. Hack number 16 is hiring the right business development rep. So this one probably has the greatest impacts to your growth. As soon as you can afford it, hire a full-time business development rep. They will pay for themselves 10x. Matt, I think just recently you finally let go of the reins of doing business development yourself, right?
I did, on the homeowner acquisition side. And that was super hard for me, because that's something I really enjoyed. I mean, I've been doing this 14 years and I've always done that up until recently. But basically, here's the deal. I was wearing so many hats, like we all are. And I felt that if I brought somebody to do this, they could actually do a better job. And you know what? They are. This is all they focus on. So that freed up my time so I can go do some other stuff in the business that I could advance in. So for me, I would definitely hire this out if this is an issue for you. But it was for me, and it's helped a lot.
Well, especially if you start doing the math, not to go off script, but if you start doing the math on what one new property is worth, and if they can help you get just a couple new deals per month, the ROI is there. The math pencils out. It's definitely worth it. So, but here's the real hack, though, right? It's getting the right person in the right seats. And so hard, sometimes to make sure you have the right person. So the real hack here is using psychometric personality assessments like predictive index and culture index to make sure you're getting the right person in that role, right? Because you could hire somebody that's not a good salesperson and a not a good profile for that. So the profiles that we've seen that work really well for this, for business development in our industry, by again doing this across 150 different management companies, captains, persuaders, mavericks, and rainmakers traditionally are the best profiles that we've seen for business development in the vacation rental industry. Now there is Steve Trover with Better Talent. He's a licensed predictive index consultant, and he's here at the conference, and he can help. He can, PI any person on your team or any person that you're thinking about hiring. So great hint here. All right, moving on. It is true what they say that data is the new gold, and data has probably one of the most underestimated tools for inventory acquisition. And I've heard that up to 50% of all marketing, it just comes down to your list. So how do you get that right list? Where do you get that right list from? We're going to go over some different hacks and some different strategies on where you can get that data from. So up first is tax records. Very often it's affiliated with MLS services. This is going to be the cheapest. It's going to be the most accurate. And when I say cheapest, because it's typically free, right? Now, the only downside of tax record data is very often it's very challenging to download. You can only download like one record at a time. And obviously that's not feasible if you're going after a large list. So then that would lead us to the next source, which is list brokers. List brokers are going to be the most convenient, the easiest. You just have to pay for the data. There's a million different list brokers out there. There's Info USA, there's Exact Data. There's like I said, a million of them. Just Google them, and you just have to call around, see which one's the best for you, best fit. Couple things to note with list brokers. The first is you want to make sure you're asking for absentee owners. Absentee owners are where the property address and the mailing address are different, right? And this is usually a good indicator of a real estate investor. And the second thing you want to look for when you're dealing with a list broker is you want to make sure make sure they have the ability to do appending services. Appending means they're filling in any missing information that might be there. So this could be information like emails and phone numbers, and we'll talk about later why that's really, really important. Up next, and one that's often overlooked, is vacation rental permit data. So if your city or county or township requires a vacation rental permit of any kind, there's a list for that data, right? And that's a great list if you think about it. These are all people that are actually currently renting out their house. And you have the rights to get that list. Now, they will make you jump through hoops. They will make it challenging. They will push back. If they push back when you call your city or county or township, just mention Freedom of Information Act, and they have to produce that information in that list for you. Now, again, they're not going to make it easy. They're going to make it challenging. I had one case where they had to give it to me literally on a CD-ROM, and I don't even have any devices to download from CD-ROMs anymore. So nonetheless, and the last one is scraping data. So as long as the addresses are showing on a website, you can actually scrape data. So you can scrape data from OTAs. You can scrape data from the large venture-backed conglomerates, hint, hint, and you can scrape data from your competitors. Couple things to note. The first is if you are, many property managers fall under real estate commission guidelines. If that's the case, the real estate commission really frowns upon, soliciting the listings of other brokers. So I would definitely recommend making sure you check with your local regulations to see if you're allowed to solicit the listings of other management companies. Each market is unique and different. So just go ahead and check that out. All right, so up next we have here is once you have that data, what do you do with it, right? Well, it's a whole bunch of merging and segmenting and appending and everything else. And honestly, it's way over my head. It's way above my pay grade. I have no idea how to do it. This is where you just need to go out there and you need to hire some data nerds, right? So what we did, again, common theme here, we hired a bunch of people on Fiverr, and these data scientists end up helping us. Ironically enough, we've hired 4 people. We hired them originally as a contractor through Upwork and Fiverr. Now they actually work for us full time. So again, if you need to find somebody that can help you with this data appending, just go to some of these websites. So Matt, I know you've got some feedback on when it comes to data, right?
Yeah, so once you hire the scientists and they put this stuff together for you, which is key, because I'm in line with Brooke with what he said, it's important to get that done right. But one word of caution, don't make the mistake I did. Go through that list. Make sure that that list is refined and you're actually sending out your marketing email, postcards, whatever you're doing, to that list you want. so that you don't start getting calls from areas or homeowners that have properties in areas you don't really want. So just make, honestly, this, I don't believe you can hire out, because you know your market better than anyone else. I think you actually have to do this. So spend the time and do it right.
I agree. All right, we're on our next bucket here, leveraging omni-channel marketing, and this is a big one. So let's kick it off. So Matt, take it away.
So originally, and honestly, I was a little hesitant at first on this, just because it was so daunting, whether, PPC and email, direct mail, target homeowner, retargeting, all this stuff. So Vintory executed this omni-channel marketing strategy for me that you see here. And honestly, like I said, I was a little nervous, but at the end of the day, it just works. There are all these little spokes in the wheel, and they work together. It allows the average property manager to really seem bigger than they are. And at the end of it, it's all about brand awareness and brand management. Honestly, you want to stay, like I said earlier, you want to stay top of mind. And this allows you, by using all these channels, to stay top of mind. So when the homeowner is right, they're ready and they remember who you are, and they actually come and do business with you. So we're actually going to break down each of these into their own hacks.
All right, let's do it. Let's start off first with direct mail. So direct mail is not dead. With all these digital marketing things, everyone thinks direct mail is dead, but it's not. Guess what? The vacation rental industry is one of the few industries where direct mail still works. So what are the hacks? The first is consistency. I'll say it again. The key with direct mail is consistency. I'd much rather send 1,000 postcards 6 times to the same target than 6,000 postcards one time. There's a compounding effect. The ROI is there. The math pencils out. Trust me. Matt, what's the second hack?
Definitely include a compelling offer. And that is something that a lead can't resist. Some examples that I've seen and or have done is a guaranteed income program, maybe offer a free deep clean, reduce commissions for the first year. Honestly, it can be anything. Your market maybe will drive something that's pertinent to you, but just do it.
Yep. And this leads us to our second giveaway. So again, we have another infographic. It is the essential elements that make great direct mail. And again, we'll explain how to get this at the end of this presentation. So let's move on to the next hack. The next hack is cold email outreach. So you're going to fill your CRM with a consistent funnel of leads with email outreach. So my hack is twofold. First up, right? If you are not a good sales copywriter, go out and hire someone. Again, I keep going back to this, go to Upwork, go to Fiverr, hire somebody that's specifically that knows how to do sales copy. And typically what we found in the email, if you see like this example right here, less is more, less is more, less is more. The next thing you want to do is you want to automate your cold email outreach using some tools that are specifically designed for cold email outreach. Don't use MailChimp. Don't use those campaigns. Use a specific product that is designed from the ground up for cold email outreach. And the one we recommend is called Mailshake. So remember earlier on when I said to go get those email addresses, this is one reason why. And this was honestly a huge surprise for me. People actually respond to cold email outreaches. We actually have a partner in Kauai. First campaign we did for him, email campaign, he got 2 deals. The average gross booking revenue was $100,000 per property from one email campaign. It works. But also keep in mind, you're going to probably hear this again later on in the presentation, it's about the omni-channel marketing, right? You have your target in the center, you're hitting them with direct mail, you're hitting her with email, you're hitting them with all these digital efforts. There's a compounding effect, right? It's the definition of synergy. It's 1 + 1 = 3. So even if they're not necessarily responding sometimes to these email campaigns, you do sometimes get a boost effect in some of the other campaigns. It does happen. So again, we recommend just, it's like constant pressure on the market, right? So, all right, up next is we're going to talk about pay per click. So the hack here is a couple things. You want to make sure you're casting as wide a net as possible, and you want to make sure you're using the right key terms. So paid search traffic is actually great because it has a high intent and the person is looking to take action, right? People don't just Google something and they're not looking to take action typically. But the downside is with inventory acquisition related, there's so little search volume. There's just not a ton of search volume. So to do that, what do you need to do to get around that? you need to have this really wide net, right? You want to make sure you're casting as wide a net as possible. So at Vintory, to get around this, what we've done, we have a full digital marketing team. They've actually gone out there and established there's 50 to 70 keywords that people are searching for when it comes down to vacation rental management, property management, those kind of things. And we found these tools using these tools right here. So you can do the same thing that our digital marketing team is doing. Just use Ahrefs and SEMrush, and they will help you find those keywords, right? So the hack is, it's really clear. Make sure you're leveraging tools like these to find those long tail keywords and make sure you're casting as wide a net as possible. All right, this is next one here. This is called list-based retargeting. This has got to be probably one of my favorites. So another key digital advertising hack is to use this list-based retargeting. This is also known as custom audiences on Facebook and Instagram. And what it allows you to do is you're allowed to serve up digital ads directly on your target's computer's social feed as they surf, right? So, but here's the key though. There's no cookies. They don't need to come to your website, like to be able to redo what's called retargeting. We'll talk about that later. So literally you are pushing out ads directly on their social feeds, which is, again, this is a game changer. All right. So how do you do it? Step one is you want to establish the list of targets that you're going after, right? You then do that email and phone append. So remember before when I said, make sure you're getting emails and phones and make sure your list broker has the ability to do appending services. This is one of the reasons why, right? You then are going to upload it into Facebook. You can do it LinkedIn. You can do Twitter. I think you even do Pinterest if I'm not mistaken. And then what you can do is you can now serve up those ads directly on their social feeds as they're surfing, right? This is a game changer. Matt?
Yes, I mean, actually what we do, Brooke, is we send out a retargeting ad about a week before it drops. I'm talking about the direct mail before that drops. Gotcha. And then we continue to run that for about a week and see if it hits the mailboxes, and then it gives us a boost effect, actually.
Yeah, it's that compounding effect we talked about before. So again, it's like how many times are you hitting them and timing of the, those kind of things. It absolutely does have a boost effect. That's awesome. All right, there's a ton of moving parts here to administer with list-based retargeting. Here are a couple of tools that make it much, much easier that I highly recommend. All right, one that's very similar, this is a really cool one, is you can target your prospective owners digitally is through IP targeting. So what is IP targeting? IP targeting allows you to serve up display ads directly on your target's computers as they surf the web. So millions of websites out there. So websites like Fox News and CNN and Weather Channel and ESPN and even local news sites, you can serve up ads directly to them. So how do you do it? Step one, again, this is very similar to list-based retargeting. Upload the addresses of your targets you're going after into the IP targeting software. It then, the software will match the home address, match it with an IP address. It doesn't get 100% match, but it gets a roughly 60% match rate. It will then serve up those display ads directly on your target's computers. This again is a game changer. If the CIA were to get into marketing, this is literally how they would do it. So between this and list-based retargeting, for the first time ever, we're able to serve up digital ads directly on our target's computers without having them come to our website and cookie them, right? This is a big deal. Like before, I don't want to sound like an old man, but back in the day, the only way I could actually do any kind of targeting to owners was through direct mail. That was it. Now you have the ability to actually do some digital marketing directly to them. This is, with the exception of the large venture-backed conglomerates, nobody is doing these kind of marketing. Your competitors certainly aren't, and it allows you to kind of compete against the big boys, the big venture-backed conglomerates, and win. All right, again, a couple cool tools to help you implement IP targeting, simplify and add accelerant. All right, we're on hack number 8, and this is retargeting. So what if I told you that close to 80% of you have a leak in your sales funnel? Well, it's true, because we've actually, and the reason we know this is we've actually secret shopped over 100 vacation rental management managers, and we've actually gone to the property management landing page. And when we leave that page, almost nobody has retargeting to bring us back. And this worries me and this concerns me, because we know even the best performing landing pages out there, 80 to 95% of the traffic that it goes there don't fill out a form. So you want to do whatever you can to drive them back and capture them as a lead. So my hack is two parts. First, make sure you're leveraging retargeting and you put that on your property management page as specific to property management. It's not doing retargeting to your guests. And second, use Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager will centralize your retargeting. It'll save you time, and it allows you to see all your results in one place. All right, we're on our last bucket here, and that is saving time with software and tools. We only have 7 more hacks to go, so hang on, we've got some good ones. So let's kick it off. So I feel I kind of contradict myself here a little bit because I talked about all this outbound marketing, but realistically, I think one of the best ROIs out there is inbound marketing. And inbound marketing, though, it's hard, it's tough, it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time, but it does work. And I also know that 99% of the people out there aren't going to do it because it does take a ton of work and nobody has the bandwidth to do that. So what's the crack version of inbound marketing? The quick hit, it's going to be interactive content. So we're going to highlight a couple examples here of interactive content that can make it really help you with your inbound strategy. So the first one here is what you're looking at. This is an example of an interactive calculator. So this was built with a very inexpensive, very easy to use tool called Calconic. So Calconic is a calculator builder, right? If you can imagine a calculator, Matt, you can build it with Calconic with no coding necessary. So the use case that I would recommend for the vacation rental industry is build out a rental projections calculator on your property management page, right? So you can just embed that code right there with using Calconic. So you enter in basic information like ADR, occupancy, maybe some basic expenses, and it'll spit out exactly how that property will perform. So what's great about this is this becomes like a lead source, a lead magnet for you. You can even, if you want, you can gate the content, which means like set it up where you have to enter an email address to kind of to get the results, or you can just, if you want to like email the results, you can do that. But this is also a great tool for realtors as well, because hopefully what ends up happening is these realtors see this, they're sending some of their prospective buyers directly to this website. All right, here's another example of great interactive content that Matt's actually doing as we speak. Matt?
Yes, honestly, I just recently found out about this not too long ago, and we were getting inundated with questions about certain properties and our realtors saying, what about this property or that property? So Brooks' team is actually building this out for us right now, this interactive map of the top properties in our markets. So I believe for us, this is going to be a game changer. And so they're currently building this out. So when people contact us, we just send them this website, say, listen, when you build it, we're going to send this website and do this. And here's the top properties, realtors will have it. And that way, anytime anyone's looking, we can have projections just built right in. And I think it's a great tool, and it's going to save a ton of time.
Yeah. And we did this for another partner. And when Matt was telling me some of the pain points that him and his business development rep were having around just getting inundated with leads, then we said, you know what, why don't we build the same platform that we did for that other partner? And I'm really excited to see this get launched here, and hopefully it helps you guys out. So here's the hack though. This was built really easily with another tool called BatchGeo. BatchGeo is a very inexpensive mapping software platform. What I love about it, Matt, is you don't need to know how to code. All you do is literally just enter in a spreadsheet. You drag and drop a spreadsheet of whatever information you need, and it literally will. You can embed it on any website or any web page on your website. Super easy, inexpensive, great tool, and nobody needs to know that it was just built with a tool like kind of off the shelf tool like BatchGeo. So, all right, Matt, you want to take this one away?
Yeah, so scheduling appointments. So you got people coming to your website. Now they fill out a form or they call you or whatever, and then you play the back and forth. So the part that really was another game changer for us was when we started actually using tools to help schedule those meetings, like Calendly or whatever service you like. But this was big for us. The key for me though was making sure that I keep my calendar up to date so I don't get double booked. So the hack here is to put this right on your property management landing page. Yep. To make sure it's easy for potential homeowners to schedule it with you. A couple of companies, like I mentioned, Calendly or HubSpot or even Vintori has a great tool for this too. So I think that's important.
Yeah, and one thing we did is exactly what Matt said. We put it right on his property management page to hopefully save a step. And even as soon as you when you fill out a form on Matt's website, we have a little pop-up come up. It says, thank you for filling out this form. Would you like to schedule an appointment directly with Matt? That pops right up in there. So again, anything you can do to kind of save that back and forth and hopefully kind of, again, reduce the friction in the buying process is going to be a benefit to you. So, all right, you want to take this one away too, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is one of my new favorite hacks. I don't have a whole lot of experience. I haven't done a lot. I have it with the tool. I've done Zoom recordings and that kind of stuff and sent those out to homeowners. But I really like this because when you talk about connecting with leads and, you play a lot of back and forth, like we talked about previously, but when you get a hold of them, everyone's schedule is busy or they have busy schedules. So it's nice to be able to do quick videos right on your computer and then shoot those off. Send that, record the video of your rental program or whatever you're talking about, send a link and then embed that video into the email with that link. And it has very high engagement rate, has very high engagement rate. And you get alerted when someone watches it. So yep. I love it.
Yeah, no. So at Vintory, we did something very similar to this. So we actually used Loom on a campaign. Well, we called it our landing page teardown. And what we did is we would go to a property manager's property management page, like their landing page, right? And we kind of critiqued them. We gave them some hints on some things they could do to help get conversions. And we would, say, hey, just like we talked about before, like, big hero image above the fold. You want a form above the fold. You want to do your risk reversals and your social proof and all these different things. And we just did a quick little 1-minute recording and then we emailed it to them. And just like you said, Matt, the engagement rate was off the charts. People clicked those, they watched those. We got notified every time they watched it. We would follow back up. We ended up closing like 4 or 5 deals just from this stupid little email campaign that we did. It was much higher than doing cold email outreach. It worked. So I think there may be I'm sure some people have to connect some dots here, but I'm sure there's some different things you could do to kind of grow your inventory, kind of leveraging a tool like this on more of that one-to-one, hand-to-hand combat. I think can really help. All right, hack number 4, we're coming down to the end here, is chatbot, right? So if you don't have a chatbot widget, add one. I know many people think they're annoying, but they instantly will increase your leads day one. We've seen it time and time again. Just overall, there's a fundamental shift that's happening, that's moving from forms to chat. We're seeing it across the board. It's just the way everything is going. There's a bunch of great different products out there that can do chat. There's Drift, there's Podium, there's Intercom, and of course, shameless plug, Vintory. We've actually built a chat bot that's directly integrated with our CRM. It actually leverages some of Google's AI platform built into it to really help with those conversions. All right, up next, we're going to talk about hack number 3 is call tracking. So understanding how your marketing is performing is always important. So one of my hacks is to use call tracking. So the one that I really, really like and we've used for years is called CallRail. It's a great product for call tracking. Every marketing campaign we send out has a unique phone number, has every landing page that has a unique phone number. Even if you want to do A/B testing, you can do that on this. And it's just a great way to track all your calls. And Matt, I know you use some of these call tracking features as well too, right?
Yeah, I do. I love the call tracking, especially in the situation now where, I have someone else handling the sales side for homeowner acquisition. So right. If something comes up and the homeowner thinks that we said something and then we can go back and listen to that voicemail and see, or not voicemail, recording and see if, we messed it up somehow or if it was just misconstrued. So yeah, definitely recommend that. So hack number 2 is all about, you agree with that, right? That the call rail and
yeah. So I'm sure what you like, I'm sure you have these owners that say, you never told me there was a startup fee. You never told me there's a marketing fee, and you could go right back into the platform and hear that call and maybe even forward that message to them, right? For that recording.
Exactly. We're on to hack number 2.
All right, let's do it.
All about making your company stand out. On the surface, all PMs seem the same to a potential homeowner. They really do. Right. Therefore, it's important to make your company stand out. Implementing services that are key to making your company be different, seem different or are different than what your competitors doing. For example, we use one of the things you see here that we use is Guest View Guide. We found that owners love it. It's a screen that goes in the units. We use it. Sometimes they're sexy. looking, and we use it as homeowner acquisition. It helps us sometimes to bump an owner our way. And there's other services there that you can see that are, that people use. You probably know a lot of these.
Yeah, no, I mean, so it's, you're actually right. You're absolutely right, Matt. It's all about differentiation. How can you make your company stand out? You can leverage tools like some of the ones that you see here to make your company seem different, right? Safely and AutoHost and Noise Aware, right? These are tools that you can implement to your rental program that makes you stand out, that makes your owners say, man, I love the products that this company has, and we can do it. One that really just that I really been a big fan of and really impressed with that just came out is called Guest Ranger. It is a really cool new company. They actually will verify your guest information using AI and pattern face recognition. And it even does a background check on them. If you go through, like, if you get a chance, go through their website, go see them. I think they have a booth here as well. And if you kind of give that information to a prospective owner, they're going to be drooling all over you. So highly recommend, leveraging some of these tools. All right, Matt, and this leads us to our number one strategy. Can I get a little drum roll, please? There we go. The number one strategy is build a great freaking company. So I know this seems like a cop-out, but this really is the number one strategy that you can do to grow your inventory. We see it time and time again. The best companies, right? The companies that have awesome revenue management, awesome reservations, they've got a killer maintenance team, killer operations team. They've just built a really, really, really good, solid team. They have this huge inflow of organic leads, but we understand this is super challenging and it does take time, but it is the best way to build an organic lead machine. So my hack is a big one. It's a mindset shift. It's all about building a company that is truly so great. Word of mouth marketing does all the work for you. So that's all we have here today. So before we get to questions, if you go to vintory.com/VRMA or just email me at brooke@vintory.com. I'm happy to send you a copy of this presentation. We'll also give you those 2 infographics we mentioned. We're also going to we're giving out 500 free target records. We're going to build out a free homeowner landing page for you. Again, no commitment, all free. And that is it. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.